Goodbye, Frankie.
Frank,
Bye-bye.
Frank, come on, man. Huh? Oh, Bobby.
Goodbye,
Frank.
Frankie.
And there's always liberation anyway. So, but actually just thinking back when we met what I would say 10 years ago.
10,
No,
yeah, maybe
12
10 or
years
12,
ago.
yeah.
12 years ago.
Mm.
And it was kind of around this communication. And I remember it so clearly, the energy of just meeting, and it was just there's an energy to it. And all of them apparent years, well, not for say a period of them, no matter how much I said I had nothing that you didn't have, and there was nothing to get, there was still a kind of an energy of feeling maybe like a Frank, or feeling like there was a lived experience of being separate. Would I be right in saying that? Apparently.
Obviously, I have to say apparently. Not that I have to say, but that's the first word that's good. Came at the tip of my mouth. Apparently, apparently that was the case. But I mean, I suppose the communication, or whatever you used to say, one way or another, there was probably some imagination that if you're talking about something and there's a website, and there must be something that I don't have. It must be, even if it's really subtle. That was the game that was playing out. Now, the ordinariness always came across, and that was kind of the love in a way. It's two dudes here talking, but the the ordinariness came across very, very, very strongly. That maybe beyond the words, that hanging around with you, that it was obvious there was no fucking special anything happening there. If you know what I mean, more so than you would have said it over and over and over again. For the mind, saying that there's no one, hearing, if the brain going, there's no one. He's a nobody who knows. He's a somebody who's a nobody who's got, that was the way the brain. Here's somebody that's definitely still, that is a Kenneth. Yeah. And as much as that had been deconstructed and ripped apart, it's still the brain would have gone, or I would have gone, whatever the fuck you want to say. That's somebody who's a nobody. I can't fucking say that full correctly.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so there's still even, and so that
something out of the nothing, almost making something out of the absence. So it's someone who no longer is a person, but it's still someone who is.
Here's somebody who's a nobody, almost. Yeah, here's somebody who's a nobody.
You're just flipping around the has. You're flipping it around to someone who has, and now it's someone who hasn't.
Yeah,
and
that nothing, that they're having nothing, having no knowledge, or he has no knowledge. So there was still having, and that was, but I mean, the message was always the same, always the same. And so even when we did talk, and maybe we did podcasts and calls or whatever the fuck, maybe despite the hammering of that, not hammering, but just that message being that. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying there exactly, but yeah, the message never changed. You never gave me nothing.
Yeah, I mean, from this perspective, it was very interesting because I do remember there was just such the conversation, a friendship flourished, I suppose, quite quickly actually. And that's as friendships do. And a lovely friendship just appeared from nothing. And then even within, there was that dynamic of you kind of feeling that I was somebody who had nothing now, or somebody who wasn't somebody anymore. And then in all these discussions, it would always kind of come back to and you'd say something. And the memory here is it always come back to, well, sure, that's what's happening, so Frank.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, you'd be like, well, fuck you, so or you know.
And well, that was the sense now and then and always, that it was never changing, that whatever, because what I used to say was something like, yeah, but you know that there's nothing to get, so you know that, and I want to be able to know that there's nothing to get, or whatever that movement, that won't say that last, but that whatever that sense was, that was what was happening.
Yeah.
Somehow I was going on and that like that. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, no, but you would always change your tact as well. You'd come at it from different angles, but
trying to squeeze in.
You would, yeah, you'd come at it from different angles, but it was also very apparent that for a long, long time also, the character Frank knew that there was nothing to get.
Yeah.
In a very real way, that knew that there was actually nothing to get, like. And so it was interesting from that perspective too. And so it just resonated as it resonated. And
it's funny you say, like, I have noticed that I've said recently something like, I think this is seen 20 years ago. I think I said something like that recently. Now I'm not too sure where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah, no, I see where I understand what you're saying with that. Like, yeah, and it was seen. Of course it was seen, because it's constantly fucking seen. It's just that scene is continually overlaid by this artificial, confused, looped, contracted sense of being a person.
Yeah, this feeling, there was a sense, we'd say, of my head blown off, like a virtual sort of sense that it was kind of headless, and there was almost anxiety about that. But then that became, blah blah blah. But it became this. In the end, I thought everything was bullshit. But then when I came across this non-dual, would say, sort of expression, when I came, obviously something about that, but instantly, resonated or sang, or I don't know, but I still, in the end, it was somebody must know. It has to, or it can be known, and all that is amazing. It's amazing, really. Is what I'm saying now. It's amazing, the whole play of it, because to say then that there was no seeking happening, really. It was only apparently.
There was no. What I find amusing about it is nothing happened. So like, if you were to look at this from a logical narrative of the way life is, it would be, well, Frank was there and he felt like a person. Oh, Frank's fallen away now, so there's no Frank anymore. So then there's this big story about how you were a seeker, and then there's this intense seeking, and then you used to interview people about it, and then one day you just weren't there. But the fact of the matter is, nothing fucking happened, because you were never there to begin with. So it's a non-event, like.
You can't say anything really, though, in the end, because everything seems to be tinged with story, and
it doesn't matter.
One way, I know it doesn't matter, but the whole thing, the whole investing, the whole whatever. I don't even know if I don't know, man. It is fascinating, because it was, like you say, it was really apparent for a while that whatever this thing that I was saying that I was looking for, it was also, I think, at best, maybe towards the end, I was saying I just want to stop talking and going on that I'm looking for something.
Then well, that's exactly it. Actually, it's funny you say that, because I started to sense that the energy of going, the energy of being in the role of the questioner and the interviewer who had a question, I could see that starting to weaken. And I think I said it to you at the time. I said, Frank, I think that's starting to kind of fall apart. Like it's kind of, and there was a discomfort arose of being in the position of interviewing and asking questions, because there wasn't really naturally any real questions coming up anymore, because it was started to be seen that there was no fucking answer anyway, and it didn't matter, and I could see the whole thing playing out. It was amazing. Yeah. I remember I said it to you at the time. I was like, I don't think. And then I was funny, interviewed somebody, I don't know, was it Tony or maybe it was Richard or someone, and I could see it was almost at the very beginning going, I'm not sure if I have any questions. And it was in that period I could see. And I was like, well, there's not much left of Frank now really here. The Frank's not gonna, I could see the whole thing kind of unraveling a bit, you know.
Yeah, even the kind of trying to, okay. So I'd approach it with the idea of, well, okay, let's see what happens. See, do I ask a question? I'm not going to bring questions. But then just this idea of, well, okay, there is a role, a parent role, and that needs to be played. And so it was played, let's just say. The role was still played to a certain extent.
Of course, yeah, I know, yeah.
But it was, yeah, there was the gas. There was no gas in the tank at all for that sort of thing.
No. Yeah, you ran out of diesel.
Yeah, I think I think it's fascinating. Is it fascinating that, you know, we talked about this on the phone, but this idea then, you know, you can't, you know, you hear these, when you're looking, you hear these romantic words that, oh, I have nothing. And this comes back to what I would have seen. I would have seen somebody that has nothing, because there's somebody here, so then it was impossible not to see this idea. But in the end then, so when somebody says anything, you go, no, I don't have a bank of knowledge, I don't have a message, I don't have something to say, I actually have nothing. And then somebody will hear that and go, now, you know, but it's impossible. This is the game, though. It is kind of magical as well, the game, the dance of being apparently somebody saying, oh, you have something. It's kind of beautiful.
Oh, the whole thing is beautiful. Yeah, it is. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. It is absolutely stunning. It's mind-blowing, that whole energy of feeling that you are a person and you have a life, and the narrative and the intricacies of this story of me is just, it's beautiful. But then it's beautiful, it's also when the meaning falls out of it, and it's just like a flower, you know. A flower is nice, but it's just life flowering. It doesn't mean anything or have any significance.
And that could be heard as apathetic or whatever, but or, you know, it's this pointlessness thing. But actually, therein is the beauty of sounds and words and conversation. Just being allowed to be that, as opposed to having to go somewhere, be something. You know, that's the.
Yeah.
And then you're making something. But then you see also as well, say for example, that it can, in the game, the game's going to play out the way it's going to play out. Secret's going to happen, and it's impossible to be heard whatever fucking way 50 billion times.
Possible, yeah. It's just, it is exactly like you said. It is exactly as it appears to be, is exactly as it is, and it cannot be any other way. So if it's someone saying, oh, yeah, I'm definitely a person, I am a me, I have a life, how dare you, then that's life energy saying that, and that's completely whole and complete and perfect as it is. And it's just, yeah, so it's amazing. It's amazing. It's completely beyond words. You can't describe it at all, and yet then what I always kind of usually follow that up with, it's completely stunning, it's completely beyond your words, and it's so ordinary I can't begin to describe to you. Like, to say it's ordinary doesn't come close to how immediate and just everyday and ordinary it is, because you know them words completely fall short of how just banal, and not even banal, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, every word then you see ordinary is, then you see in the same breath I'd be saying, there's nothing to say, there's nothing, blah, blah, blah. And then I could say 2 seconds later, but it's fucking spectacular. And then
Yeah.
they go, oh, sorry, now what did you just say there? Tell me why it's spectacular. Well, I mean, just catch me in the morning if I'm hungover. I tell you, it's fucking disgusting. And I could, you know, but I'd also probably go, it's great though, isn't it? That you can feel like this, or that this is apparently possible, that it can happen. You know, that this, you know,
Yeah.
and then that's not good enough, really.
I
Because
know
then
it's
but it's,
words are just like it is. It is really that it's just there's just it's an energy. It's an energetic resonance. I mean, when in relation to any description of it, everything, it's just energy. It's just an energetic thing, really. That's all, like, for me. And the words just happen to come out, blah blah blah, as they do, and they just are. They're not like completely inconsequential in that words have a certain energy to them too, you know, as in like as in clarifying or demystifying or confusing or adding to confusing or feeding the person or not feeding the person. So there is that, you know what I mean? But underneath that and in that is just this resonance. That's really what it's all. That's really what it's all kind of pointing to, like.
but in the words then, like you say, though, it can be a thing. You can sense that there's absolutely nothing on offer in the words. You can sense, so maybe we put it that really, really, like there's nothing on offer. Then
Yeah.
that's kind of, how would that ever be wonderful? But it is wonderful.
Oh, it's boundless. It's boundless, and people are being spoon-fed prescriptive bullshit their whole life. And when they can come across a clear communication, they can sense very clear, very, very, very quickly that they're not being offered anything, and they're not, and also there's nothing required of from them, and they're being seen as nothing but unconditional love and wholeness. And that is a fucking powerful, powerful energy. That is a very, very powerful thing. And that can be sensed very quickly, that there's nothing. And then from what I would say is then the whole gamut of kind of emotions can play out, as in, I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear this, but I'm blown away by this message as well. You know what I mean? I think that's very kind of one of the more common's the wrong word, but it's a frequent response is a complete push and pull to it. But like there's very much sense, and this is a very dangerous communication in the sense of it's talking about the end of me. So me, I don't want anything to do with it, but I can't seem to get up off my chair because I'm actually blown away at the same time, and it's resonating in a way that nothing else has resonated before, you know. It's remarkable. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
I think, yeah, the authorityless thing can come across also very strongly when you're hearing that it's already over, that already what you're looking for is 1,000% what's happening, and that there is nothing that can be gained. That ordinarily wonderfulness of that can, because it's almost in a room, in a meeting in a room, there's an expectation that you can give me something. This fucking wonderful, you can give me something. And then, yeah, when that is kind of ripped a little bit, that's also that freedom.
Yeah, you can. It's just, yeah. I'm totally, completely, from when the first time I ever went to see Tony years and years ago, apparently years ago, and I'm as blown away by this communication that is nobody's communication. I'm as blown away right now as I first was. But just it doesn't ever start getting old or. You know what I mean? It's because, like, if you think of a theory, right, or any kind of theory in life, or some kind of a conceptual kind of way of approaching life, it can have an energy and it can fill up, like, it can imbue everything, and then it can just slowly kind of peter out or just fall apart altogether, because of course, because it's just limited. It's filling the person. You know what I mean? So it's going to be, it's only ever going to last so long. But this is totally different to that. It's just,
We see it's just definitely not talked about. And also even the mind can come in and go here and, that this is a communication when it's not even a communication or a message or anything has been said, and the brain will go, okay, well, even that is something. But really, it's more like, it's only in the jazz hands thing of, what the fuck do you... Are you talking about the fact this?
Yeah.
Are we actually having a conversation about not the going somewhere, not the getting places,
Yeah,
not
just
the attainment, just this? Oh no, say it again. What are you saying? That thing for me, absolute honest and empty. Sorry, I haven't a clue.
Shocking. It's shocking. It's quite a shock. It's such a shock that what you've been looking for is already what is, and there's never been anything else. And it's such a, the laughter, that's where the laughter can just burst out of as well. It's like, oh my God.
What you've been looking for is the look. What you've been looking for is looking. Like,
exactly. Yeah, I've been going around looking for my glasses, with my glasses, using my glasses, looking for my glasses, like kind of analogy. You know what I mean? It's just,
and that's in a way, that's the dance, let's just say, of these sorts of communications or conversations, the almost idea that it can be talked about, because the brain will almost love to go, oh, it's a thing, we can talk about the thing, but it's the talking, it's the sounds. How the fuck do you begin with that or end with that? It's already the talking. And then you're